The car was already gone by the time I got there. Marcus had moved it. He'd dragged the whole story off the road and buried it somewhere I still can't find, and I let him. I stood in that gravel driveway and I let him. Marcus and I had been friends since we were 22. The kind of friendship that survives bad breakups and borrowed money and all the stupid decisions you make before you figure out who you actually are. He bought a piece of land about 4 years ago, 5 acres outside of town. Nothing fancy, just a house and a big open lot that he'd been slowly turning into something livable. He was proud of it. He talked about it the way people talk about children. I used to go out there on weekends sometimes, help him with small things, clear brush, run extension cords, keep him company while he worked. His property backed up to a gravel road that almost nobody used, a county access road, technically, but it was mostly locals cutting through, the occasional delivery truck. Marcus had a fence along the back edge of the lot, old wood posts and wire, nothing serious. The weekend it happened, I was supposed to be there by noon. I got a flat tire about 20 minutes out and had to pull over, deal with it, get my hands dirty on the side of the road. By the time I pulled into Marcus's driveway, it was almost 2 in the afternoon. I remember that specifically because I checked my phone when I parked and thought, he's going to give me a hard time about this. He didn't give me a hard time. He was standing outside the back of the house when I came around the corner, and his face was wrong. Not upset, not angry. Something quieter than that, something flatter. He looked like he'd been standing there a while, working out what to say. He told me a guy on a dirt bike had come through the back access road. Young, Marcus said he looked young, maybe late teens, maybe early 20s. He'd lost control near the fence line, hit a patch of loose gravel, went down hard. Marcus found him on his property, just inside the fence. He said the guy was okay, up and walking around, shaken but not badly hurt. A few scrapes. His bike was damaged but rideable. And then Marcus said the part that still sits heavy in my chest. He said the guy didn't have a license, had been drinking, and begged Marcus not to call anyone. Said his family would lose their minds. Said he just started a new job and a DUI would end it. Marcus gave him some water, helped him get the bike back on the road, and the kid left. That was it. That was the story. Except it wasn't. Because when Marcus walked me to the back of the property, I could see the marks in the dirt. The way the ground was torn up wasn't a simple drop. The trajectory of it, the distance between where the bike went down and where it stopped, didn't match someone who slid and caught themselves. There was a gouge in the fence post, a deep one. And behind the post, just in the weeds on the other side of the property line, there was a smear of something dark on a flat rock that I told myself was oil. I told myself that very deliberately. I said the word oil in my head like a closed door. Marcus looked at me the way he always looked at me when he needed me to agree with something. Not demanding, just waiting, patient in a way that felt like pressure. He said, "I don't want this to become something. The kid was scared. He's gone. Nobody was seriously hurt." And I stood there looking at that rock, looking at that fence post, and I made a calculation I am not proud of. I thought about what calling someone would mean. For the kid, yes, but also for Marcus. The liability alone, someone getting hurt on his property. The questions about why there was a gap in the fence, why nobody had filled in that low spot along the access road that made bikes drift. Marcus had been talking about fixing it for months. I knew that. I knew exactly how that detail would land if anyone official started asking. I thought about how Marcus had always shown up for me. The time I needed a place to stay for 3 weeks after my last relationship fell apart, and he gave me his guest room and never once made me feel like a burden. The loan he never asked back for. The Sunday afternoons. All of it moved through my mind in about 4 seconds, which tells you something about how fast we can justify things when we want to. I said, "Are you sure he was okay?" Marcus said, "He walked out of here." And I said, "Okay." Just that, okay. One word that meant I wasn't going to push it, wasn't going to ask to see the rock up close, wasn't going to call anyone or suggest that we should. We spent the rest of the afternoon working on the house like nothing had happened. He fixed the fence post before dark. I held the board while he drove the nails. We didn't talk about it again that day. For about a week, I was fine. I told myself the story Marcus told me. Kid was shaken but walking. Scared about his family, scared about his job, just wanted to go home. It happens. Then, about 9 days later, I saw a notice in a local community group online. Someone looking for information about a hit and run on a county access road. A young man, they used those exact words. A young man had come home badly injured a few weeks ago and wouldn't say what happened. His family was trying to piece it together. They thought it involved a property near the road. They weren't angry in the post, just searching, trying to understand. I read it 3 times. Then I closed the app and put my phone face down on my kitchen table and sat there for a long time. I don't know what Marcus saw and what he didn't. I don't know if his version of okay and the family's version of badly injured are 2 different things, or the same thing told from different distances. I don't know if the kid downplayed it to Marcus because he was scared, or if something got worse after he left, or if I'm building a case out of a fence post and a rock and my own guilt. What I know is that I held the board while he drove the nails. I know that I said okay. I know that there's a family somewhere who posted into an empty community board looking for an answer, and I might be the only person who could give them something close to one, and I haven't. I keep almost typing something. I keep opening the app and closing it again. Marcus and I still talk, not as much as we used to. There's something in the silences now, something we're both building around. Maybe he feels it too, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he really believes no serious harm was done, and I'm the only one still living inside that afternoon on the gravel, staring at a rock. But I held the board. I stayed. I made that choice in about 4 seconds, and I have been living inside it ever since. I still don't know what the right answer was. I'm not sure I believe there was a clean one. But I know I picked the answer that cost me the least in that moment, and I've been paying for it slowly ever since. If I go back and say something now to that family, to anyone, I don't know what I'd even say. That I was there. That I don't know what Marcus saw. That I held a fence post while the evidence got buried and told myself it was nothing. I don't know what you would have done. I genuinely don't, but I'd like to know.